Hi, I'm Paul Roberts. This is Conscious Counseling 101. And we have a letter from a man that writes in. He's about 46 years old, he says, and he feels like a failure because some of the decisions that he's made earlier in life, like not to go to medical school and whatnot, have left him in a place where he feels like, oh, now I don't have what I'd like to have. And I feel like I could have had this whole other life, and I'm not happy in my job, and I just feel like I'm just depressed all the time, and I just feel like I'm a success, and I'm even considering like post-traumatic stress syndrome, eye treatment, and things like that. All right, so I'm just summing up the letter real quick here. So one of the things that I can do for you is share what I've done and what I do, because it works. You can't be me, but you can understand why what I do works, and maybe try to seek to make those kinds of things bigger in your life, maybe even pivotal, maybe even everything. You have this idea that maybe you want to move out of this area because everybody here is so materialistic and shallow and comparing what they have, or at least you're maybe doing some of the comparing with what you have, and it always comes up short. I can't do this with you without sharing religious thoughts and convictions. Now, what I'm going to share, I don't want you to get, all hung up on, because you don't have to believe these things that I'm going to talk to you about. They would still work. I just think that because they do work, they're likely real. But only I say likely, I don't know. Okay, I put my faith in these things, and I use these things and these tools, and some of these tools I talk about here at Conscious Counseling 101, because they actually can work, they're logical, and they make sense. But I want to tell you they are faith-based in their origins. But many people through the years have come to some of these conclusions in different religions, and not even religion at all, like Stoic philosophy, thousands of years ago. I have a video I'd like you to watch, but I said I'd make one specifically for you. But I'm going to give you the link for this other video, because it will be helpful also. And I did this video about 10 years ago, and it's on success. I think what you need to do is you need to realize, you need to reinvent in your mind what success actually is first, so that wherever you find yourself, the mentality won't be borrowed from anything else but you and what you do yourself to define what success is. Because you're going to be living in a world of losers. And this is where I'm going to enter into the formula. You've seen that you're educated, even though you didn't go all the way through medical school, you're educated. You know the probability formula, the probability curve, right? You know that if you drop a ball down and you have all these little pins, the chances in the middle that they're gonna make all the right choices to get somewhere in the middle is pretty high. And the chances that they'll keep making the wrong choice and going all the way out over to the side is lower, because you have a whole bunch of wrong choices taking you those ways. And each time you have a 50% chance it goes down the middle, and the curve goes like a probability bell curve. So here's where I'm taking to the religion and emergence with science. Jesus says in his teachings that the road toward finding God or purpose in life or salvation, if you believe in such things, but just keep it secular if you have to in order to take me seriously, is narrow and straight, and it leads to the narrow gate, and very few will find it. The road is broad that leads to destruction, and almost all are on it. Also, there's a lot of references in Jesus' teachings to him being the light of the world, and that many people are immersed in darkness. I want to just suggest to you right now what that means. You're going to be always in this world, whether you live here in this area or you go somewhere else, in a world where very few people are going to make all the choices that lead you to some other place. And almost everybody is going to make all the same types of choices. And they're going to be blinded in the darkness on the broad road to destruction, most likely, probability-wise, if you look at science, together. So no matter where you live, if you don't differentiate yourself from those people in some way, not judge, I'm not asking you to be judgmental. Jesus also tells us not to judge. But no matter where you go, if you don't recognize that you have to remove yourself from that and not compare yourself with others, not be concerned with what those that are lost, what they're running after, the shallow lives they lead, even though they look glamorous a lot of times. They go, oh, it'd be a lot easier if I had some more money and I could, enjoy my job and I could have the things they have, But the thing is that, yeah, they may have some things going in this life, but you have to ask yourself, is that what success is? Is that what you want to do? You want to work all the days of your life and sacrifice and whatever to have that? Well, you're already working now. I don't know if you're sacrificing or not, but you're sacrificing yourself because your mentality isn't in line with where it could be to be the most healthy. That's why I'm making this video for you. How much do you need? How much do you have to have if you're on the straight road, if you get to the point in your life where you realize what's important and you aren't distracted by others around you that are making bad choices and are basically immersed in darkness and the materialisms and the joys of success in this world that has to do with monetary, seemingly everything going right yourself. And you do a lot of that. You make it so that you think everybody's got it all going good and you'd like to be like that. But you have to fabricate that like a connect the dots picture like you used to do when you were a little child. Those people, I guarantee you, also have a lot of things in their life that aren't the way they like them to be either. But that's neither here nor there. That's sour grapes. We're not going to do that. The point I'm trying to make is, if you have a belief that mirrors what this one Jesus teachings talks about, then you can separate and differentiate yourself from others and not have that be your litmus test of whether you should be calling yourself successful and happy or not. And that's a huge, powerful tool for you. And in conscious counseling, we talk about the paradigm shift. You take the perspective and you take your problem and you look at it from every perspective you possibly can until one works. Well, this one that I'm sharing with you would work for you. You're so caught up in thinking that it has to be this, that you don't ever think it could have been that, could have been that. Oh, you say, but it could have been this. Yes, you do say one other one. It could have been that. But how many other ways do you say, oh, it could have been that. 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 What can you do within your place where you're depressed and you have panic attacks and you feel like you should have done something else, or you could have done something else, and you're unsuccessful, and you just can't find a way out of it? What can you do to find yourself a perspective of looking at your life and your situation where it works, and then lock in on that? Whatever it might be. I think it's what I'm talking about. It takes a lot of energy. You can't just listen to some guy that offers free advice on the internet. The internet's full of crap. But it's not full of very much good stuff, is it? That's why I don't charge, and that's why I do this. I hope that the incentive of what I'm talking about is logical enough for you and needed enough for you that you'll try this. You're looking at this picture. So this guy suggested this. I really haven't put a lot of stock in faith or God or religion or Jesus teachings or whatever. But does it make sense? Before you talk yourself out of it and get lost, unhappy at work like you are tomorrow and the next day and the next weeks, say this to yourself. If I applied my energy believing this or acting as if this is true, this perspective that would work, that would make my situation fine right now, even though it's not fine, wouldn't it be better to apply my energy to finding a way to describe to me why it is fine in the state that I'm in as a basis or a foundation? And slowly, meticulously work at the things once you know why this is a good place to be. And do small, minor repairs rather than overhauls, like moving out of the area or whatever. Wouldn't your energies be better spent feeling better and more secure and solid, applying all your thought processes to why this perspective is most healthy for you and likely and could be productive, and start working with it and challenging yourself to say, why is this perspective, thought process acceptable? Why? Wouldn't the energy spent working on that, trying to tell yourself this is more valuable going this way and seeing things this way than the way you currently are, where all your thought processes are examining what everybody else is doing? What don't you have? What could you have done differently? All these things are just tearing you apart, and you're doing most of the work of tearing yourself apart by yourself. What I'm going to take is, you can only have so much energy per day. You can only make so many decisions right per day, okay? So direct and channel yourself to believing that what you're going to look at is a better use of your positive energy and more likely to be helpful to you. As you work that, and you believe that, and you become that. But the that isn't just saying, I'm fine the way I am. The that also consists of making changes to it. And believing that that is now your workbench. Not looking at how everybody else is. And all that energy you put into that is wasted. It's made you worse. All that energy you put into that is wasted. It's made you worse. Not the choices you've made, but the way you've looked at things and still do has made you worse. Yeah, it's possible that if you'd done what you thought you were going to do, that you would have been okay. But if this mentality that exists carried along as your baggage as you went down that route, in one way or another, you'd still be having these problems now, even with the better life and the money and success and whatnot. Because everything that you are would have been based on that. What a waste. What a waste. Think of all the energies and the sacrifices and the other things you would have had to do just to feel like you've done better. Not necessarily doing any better in reality, but just being more like everybody else. Like on that probability curve, you're more in the middle than you are now, okay? Does that make you more important or successful? I would say no. Now, I can tell you as a person that's not in the middle, not like there's nobody on this planet that's like me. Nobody. At least not that I've met. I believe overcoming, being fit into that mix of what Jesus said is the broad road paved to destruction is the real tragedy. But you're wanting to go towards it. If you can come to the point where you can see that as not a success, if you could take your time thinking of another thing that you see that would be more successful in overcoming and starting to become happier about that and working with that and making that your mind's eye focus, not only will everything else drop away more, but you'll start to become whole and healthy and happier. And when you become different, you'll have more energy to make small decisions, or large ones, but not knee-jerk decisions. Large ones, but not knee-jerk decisions. And all of your powers of what you apply yourself to will become more effective, not only now, in the way you feel and your positive energy, but in all the things that you apply yourself to. This is such a simple thing, it sounds like when I say it, doesn't it? But you see, this is how I've done it. And I'm no great success story in the eyes of the world. Most people would come to me and say, what do you have to offer? I've got way more than you. I've done way more. But you haven't done what I've done, and you couldn't even hope to even understand what I've done. And if what I've done can help someone like yourself, maybe it was worthwhile. I want you to also look at me talking about my father and what he was, and me overcoming that in this other success video if you have the time. I'm Paul Roberts. This is Conscious Counseling 101 for today, and I'll talk to you more if you'd like.